Being Michael Jordan's child is both a golden ticket and a life sentence. While the world saw the unimaginable privilege, the sprawling mansions, the front row seats, and the endless supply of the most coveted sneakers on the planet, they missed the private struggles, the public failures, and the constant suffocating battle to escape a last name that is more myth than reality. What truly happens when your father isn't just a man, but a global symbol of greatness? In this video, we are pulling back the curtain on the intensely private and often misunderstood lives of Michael Jordan's three eldest children, from his first marriage to Juanita Vanoy, Jeffrey Marcus, and Jasmine. We will explore the crushing weight of expectation placed on them from birth, the dramatically different paths each one carved out for themselves, one by running from the spotlight, one by running directly into controversy, and one by quietly taking control of the empire. We will delve into the untold stories of their attempts to forge their own identities in the largest shadow imaginable. I want you to know that this isn't just a surface-level recap you could find anywhere else. I have spent countless hours poring over 2 decades of rare interviews, news archives, public statements, and insider reports to piece together the real, unfiltered story. We're going beyond the highlight reels and the gossip columns to understand the complex human beings behind the legendary surname. So stick with me, because what you're about to hear will fundamentally change the way you see the Jordan dynasty forever. Jeffrey Jordan, the reluctant heir, everyone assumed the eldest son would be the second coming of his heiress. It was the story the world wanted. But what happens when the heir to the throne doesn't actually want the crown? This is the story of Jeffrey Mickael Jordan, the weight of the name. Born on November 18, 1988, Jeffrey arrived just as his father was cementing his status as a basketball deity. From the moment he could walk, a basketball was in his hands. But so was the lens of a camera and the crushing weight of global expectation. He wasn't just a boy playing a game. He was a walking, breathing sequel to the greatest story ever told in sports. His high school games at Loyola Academy in Illinois weren't typical high school games. They were media circuses. National television crews from outlets like ESPN would broadcast his games. The crowds were not just parents and students. They were collectors, autograph hounds, and critics, all there to measure him against an impossible yardstick, his own father. In interviews from that time, you can see the strain on his face. He'd say, "I just want to be a normal kid." But he never could be. His father, Michael, would often try to attend his games discreetly. But his very presence would turn the gym into a frenzy, inadvertently making the pressure on his son 100 times worse. The comparisons were relentless and cruel. Every missed shot was proof he wasn't his father. Every successful play was met with a shrug, as if to say, "Of course he's a Jordan." He was trapped in a paradox: he couldn't fail, and he couldn't truly succeed on his own terms. He was a good player, a very good high school player who earned a scholarship to a Division I program, an achievement 99% of young athletes can only dream of. But for Jeffrey, it wasn't enough. It was never going to be enough. A battle on and off the court. He accepted a scholarship to play for the University of Illinois, a major basketball program. The media frenzy followed him. His decision was analyzed on sports talk shows across the country. But college was a different beast. The players were bigger, faster, and stronger. Jeffrey was a solid role player known for his defense and basketball IQ, but he wasn't a superstar. The pressure mounted not just from the public, but from within. After 3 seasons and limited playing time, he made a shocking decision: he quit. In 2009, he announced he was leaving the team to focus on his studies, to try for the first time in his life to just be a student. It was a courageous act of self-preservation, an attempt to reclaim his own identity. But the pull of the game was strong, and after a year he transferred to the University of Central Florida to play alongside his younger brother Marcus. He rejoined the world that had scrutinized him his entire life. He finished out his college eligibility, but the dream of a professional basketball career was no longer his. He knew he wasn't his father, and he was finally ready to accept it. After graduating, Jeffrey chose a path that kept him close to the family business, but away from the court. He entered Nike's management training program, learning the corporate side of the empire his father built. He eventually took a role leading brand digital innovation for the Jordan brand, a position he holds to this day. He found a way to honor the legacy not by replicating his father's athletic feats, but by helping to build the future of his brand. He was finally in control. However, the shadow of public scrutiny never truly disappears. In 2021, a story broke that seemed out of character for the quiet, reserved eldest son. Jeffrey was arrested in Arizona for aggravated assault. The details were jarring. After a fall at a bar, he was taken to a hospital for treatment, where he allegedly became combative and assaulted hospital staff. The incident was a stark reminder that even off the court, the pressures and complexities of his life were ever present. The charges were later dropped, but it was a crack in the carefully constructed private life he had tried to build. It showed that escaping the Jordan name and all that comes with it is a lifelong struggle. Jeffrey's journey is one of a man who was handed a script at birth and spent the first half of his life trying to rewrite it. He ultimately found his peace not by living up to his father's legend, but by finding his own way to contribute to it, far from the roar of the crowd. But while Jeffrey tried to strategically step away from his father's shadow on the court, his younger brother decided to run directly into it, with explosive and controversial results. Marcus Jordan, the rebel with a cause. He had the talent, he had the swagger, and he had a defiant streak that would create headlines for all the wrong reasons. This wasn't the story of a son trying to follow in his father's footsteps. This was the story of a son trying to make his own, even if it meant stomping on a few toes along the way. This is Marcus James Jordan. Born August 24, 1990. Marcus was different from his older brother from the start. Where Jeffrey was introspective and cautious, Marcus was bold, outgoing, and seemingly embraced the spotlight. He was a highly talented basketball player in his own right, a combo guard with a natural scoring ability. Alongside his brother, he led their high school team to a state championship, and the hype was real. Many scouts believed that if any of the Jordan sons had the potential to make it to the NBA, it was Marcus. He had his father's competitive fire, but it often manifested as a rebellious spirit. This spirit would come to define his public persona during his college years at the University of Central Florida, UCF. The university had a multi-million-dollar sponsorship deal with Adidas. It was a simple rule for all athletes: you wear Adidas gear. Marcus refused. In a move of staggering defiance, he insisted on wearing Nike Air Jordans during his games out of loyalty to his father and the family brand. This wasn't a quiet protest. It was a public spectacle. The university was furious, and Adidas was apoplectic. The brand ultimately terminated its contract with UCF, a deal worth an estimated $3 million. Marcus's choice cost his school a fortune. To the public, it looked like the ultimate act of entitlement from a spoiled rich kid. But to Marcus, it may have been something more, a declaration of independence and a savvy of controversial business statement. He was showing the world that the Jordan brand, his family's brand, held more power than a university's corporate contract. It was a move his father, a master marketer, might have secretly admired. His time at UCF was marked by this same rebellious energy. He was a good player, but his off-court antics often overshadowed his performance. In 2012, he was arrested in Omaha, Nebraska, following a disturbance outside a hotel. He was charged with resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, and obstruction. The mugshot went viral. He was seen arguing with two women in the hotel driveway, and the police report described him as very animated, intoxicated, and uncooperative. It played into the public narrative of him being the bad boy Jordan, the one who was squandering his immense privilege. He also became known for his unfiltered presence on social media, often tweeting things that would land him in hot water. After his team lost a game, he once tweeted about spending a large amount of money in a Las Vegas nightclub, a move that drew widespread criticism for its perceived immaturity and lack of focus. Like his brother, he eventually decided to step away from basketball, leaving the UCF team before his senior year. The dream of the NBA faded, and a new path began to emerge. Marcus, like Jeffrey, understood the power of the family name, but he chose to leverage it in a much more direct and commercial way. In 2016, he opened Trophy Room, a high-end sneaker and apparel boutique located in Orlando. The store's concept was inspired by the Jordan family's own Trophy Room, a place of immense pride and history. It was an instant success, becoming a mecca for sneakerheads. However, even here controversy followed him. The store became infamous for backdooring sneakers, a practice where highly sought-after limited edition shoes are sold through private channels to resellers for inflated prices rather than to the general public. While common in the sneaker world, Trophy Room's alleged involvement in these schemes on a massive scale angered the very community he was trying to serve. Marcus was accused of using his connections to get exclusive releases and then profiting from the hype by shutting out regular customers. Whether a brilliant, ruthless businessman or just plain greedy, he was once again playing by his own rules. His most recent and perhaps most public act of defiance involves his personal life. He is currently in a high-profile relationship with Larsa Pippen, the ex-wife of his father's legendary Chicago Bulls teammate, Scottie Pippen. The relationship has been a tabloid sensation, not least because of the well-documented falling out between Mickael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. For Marcus to date the ex-wife of his father's estranged former friend was seen by many as a massive breach of loyalty. When asked about the relationship, Mickael Jordan himself was caught on camera by paparazzi and gave a short dismissive "no," a clear sign of his disapproval. Marcus, however, has doubled down, appearing on podcasts and reality TV, with Larsa seemingly reveling in the drama. It's the ultimate rebellious act, choosing a partner his father publicly disapproves of, linked to his father's most famous professional relationship. Marcus's story is that of a son who never ran from his father's shadow, but instead tried to dance in it, using the attention for better or worse to build his own brand of fame and fortune. As both of his sons wrestled with the legacy of the number 23, Mickael's only daughter from his first marriage chose a completely different arena to build her empire, proving that the Jordan drive wasn't just reserved for the basketball court. Jasmine Jordan, the architect of the future. She never scored a point in a professional game. She never had her vertical leap measured or her ball handling skills scrutinized by ESPN. Yet she might be the most important and powerful Jordan in the business of basketball today. How did the one child who actively stayed off the court end up running the kingdom? This is the story of Jasmine Mickael Jordan. Born December 7, 1992, Jasmine saw firsthand the intense, often brutal pressure her brothers faced. From an early age, she knew the path of a professional athlete was not for her. In an interview, she admitted to trying to play basketball for a short time. But when she realized she didn't have the passion for it, she told her father she was done. To his credit, Mickael Jordan's response was simple. "Okay. As long as you're passionate about what you do, that's all that matters." That moment set her on a completely different trajectory. Instead of focusing on athletics, she focused on her education. She enrolled at Syracuse University, one of the top schools in the country for sports management. She wanted to understand the business behind the game, the machine that turned athletes like her father into global brands. While her brother's college years were defined by their struggles with the Jordan name on their jerseys, Jasmine was quietly learning how to leverage that name in a corporate boardroom. She was playing a different game, and she was determined to win. She openly talks about a moment in college when she Googled her own father. Not because she didn't know who he was, but because she wanted to understand the public's perception of him, to separate the man she knew as dad from the icon the world revered. It was a crucial step in her journey to understanding the scale of the legacy she was a part of. After graduating with a degree in sports management, she didn't just walk into a top job, she started from the ground up. She began working as a field representative for the Jordan brand in Charlotte, North Carolina, learning the business from the inside out. She worked with the Charlotte Hornets, the NBA team her father owns, acting as a liaison between the team and the brand. Her intelligence, work ethic, and unique perspective quickly made her indispensable. She had an unparalleled understanding of both the brand's history and its potential future. Today, Jasmine is a key executive for the Jordan brand. She works directly with a roster of the brand's athletes, which includes some of the biggest names in the NBA, like Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, and Zion Williamson. She helps them with everything from marketing strategies to product design. She is the crucial bridge between her father's generation and the new era of superstars. She is the one who ensures the legacy doesn't just survive, but evolves. She has a say in which athletes get signed, what products get made, and how the brand presents itself to the world. She is in many ways the gatekeeper and the architect of the Jordan brand's future. While her brother's stories are about their relationship with their father's past, Jasmine's story is about her control over its future, the next generation. Jasmine's personal life also reflects this theme of legacy. She is engaged to Rakeem Christmas, a former professional basketball player whom she met at Syracuse. In 2019, she gave birth to a son, making Mickael Jordan a grandfather. She named her son Rakeem Mickael Christmas, beautifully blending her partner's name with her father's, a symbol of the continuation of the family line. She has embraced the Jordan name in a way her brothers initially struggled to. She hasn't run from it or rebelled against it. She has owned it, redefined it, and made it her own in the corporate world. She proves that the famous Jordan competitiveness, that relentless drive to be the best, was not just genetic, but also taught. She simply chose to apply it in a different arena. Her success is quiet, but immense. She doesn't seek the spotlight, but her influence is felt in every new pair of Jordans that hits the shelves and every new athlete that signs with the brand. The paths of Jeffrey, Marcus, and Jasmine are a fascinating and complex study in legacy pressure and the search for identity. Each of them, in their own unique way, has had to answer the impossible question: how do you follow the sun? But their struggle isn't the only one of its kind in the world of iconic figures. This struggle to define oneself outside the shadow of a legendary parent reminds me of the deeply personal story we covered about the children of another generational genius, the great physicist Stephen Hawking. The pressures they faced were intellectual rather than athletic, but just as intense. And their story is one you won't want to miss. You can check out that video right here. But the story of a famous family's next generation isn't always about sports or science. Sometimes it's about building an industrial empire and dealing with the darkness that can come with it. The immense fortune of Henry Ford came with its own set of tragic secrets and untold stories for his children. We're digging into the unspoken truth of the Ford dynasty in our next video, so make sure you are subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss it. What do you think about the unique paths the Jordan children have taken? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.